Welcome, everybody, to BeerNet Radio. I'm your host, Harry Schuhmacher, and we have Jordan Driggers and Jen Litz-Kirk on the line here. We were just talking about my outing with Geloso last night.
Yeah, how was it?
It was good. It was good. You know, Paul Renee's built a pretty good team. They've doubled their employees like in the last year. They were about 80 people. They had it down at the Valencia, and then we went down to the Pearl for dinner. And I got to meet the owner of Geloso Beverage, the elusive Aldo Geloso. And this guy, he's like Italian, but he's also French Canadian. So he and his wife they both spoke French to each other. They're very European, but he's also like just a kind of a scamp and a lot of fun. Like,
I love it. I love it. I got to meet this guy. That sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah. But you could tell that he and Paul have a cool dynamic because Paul is like the nuts and bolts blocking and tackling, if you will, of the company. And you can tell that Aldo has like big dreams.
Yeah.
He mentioned that he loves glass. And that, remember they came out with bottles last year, and I'm not sure how that did, but I think that was Aldo's idea was the glass. So
they have their own like bottling factory, I think, right?
Oh, they do?
I think so.
I think Paul told us that before.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even though we've had just a terrible summer for beer, Geloso's up 10% and still just rocking in C-stores. Although, and it's funny, during my presentation, one of the questions somebody asked me was, should we worry about the big brewers coming in to this category like Boston Beer has? And I was like, well, AB took a run at it a few years ago. They had one Club Tail. Theirs is Club Tails, but AB's something Tails.
Mixed Tails.
Mixed Tails, right. And I was like, no, they won't invest in that category. And then this morning's newsletter, Molson Coors coming out with high strength 24-ounce cans in all their packages, which is right up that wheelhouse, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be priced the same, but
and high ABV too. The Topo Chico Max, 24 ounces of 8%. Oof.
Yeah,
that's
that will sell in parts of town that I hang out in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In Antonio.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
The Simply Bold seems like a layup too, but I think what we've kind of determined is if you want to play in RTDs, you got to have a new to world brand.
Yeah,
those brand extensions come on strong. But they're struggling in the end.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
bring that mic a little closer to you, Jordan. You can pull it towards you.
That's my little Alabama riff.
Okay.
If you want to play in Texas, you got to have fiddle in your band.
Oh my gosh, what a great song that gets underappreciated these days. If you want to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band. And I don't even know if that's true. I don't think that's true at all. Yeah, George Strait had a fiddle in the band. But like did Willie have his sister played fiddle. You know what?
It's true.
I stand corrected. It is true. Jen. So Jen, let's talk about MBCO. We used to call
MBCO
company MBCO. But now it's Molson Coors Beverage Company. So
yeah, I'm always double checking myself. I'm like, what's it called today?
Yeah.
But no, it's funny that Jay just talked about the line extensions, because one of the things that struck me about the MCDC, as we call it, is that it's like their innovations on a 2-year cycle now. Their biggest innovation bet for 2025 is Happy Thursday, which, if you're paying attention, came out this year. So that was interesting. And then all of their other big C-store plays, the new ones are those line extensions from Simply and Topo, and Blue Moon has a Max too. Jay kind of hinted at it. They wouldn't let us print this, and so we won't say it, or will we? No, but they do have a potential something else up their sleeve, which I thought was really interesting. But we'll see. Sometimes these things don't even end up coming to the light of day for one reason or another. Like, we all remember Two Hats.
Right, we do. I'm just really glad they're tackling the red hot non-alcoholic
Oh my God. Okay, so
Hard.
let's talk about that. What's it called? Naked Life, which
Naked Life. Yeah.
we talked about this. Like, there's a naked drink out there anyway, right? But
Yeah.
Australian non-alc RTD, which is interesting. I don't know how it's going to be priced. I mean, is it going to be priced like a non-alc adult import? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
but there's
I just, maybe I'm too old. I just do not see a huge market for that at scale. I see a lot, if you're pregnant or you're dry January, I see like occasion based certain things,
yeah.
but I don't see scale like you would think Molson Coors is only doing big scale things, but I could be wrong
Yeah,
because
well,
people are doing weird shit these days.
well, I think these brewers think they have to play in non-alc, right? I mean, even in the Marino days, I know he was pretty focused on figuring out how to position themselves in the non-alc space, right? And looking at things like this. But it's funny because I don't know how the wholesalers feel about it, right? I think they'll take non-alc energy all day long, but when it comes to non-alc beer and non-alc adult beverages, they're a little more cagey. I think some of them feel like it's letting the fox in the hen house, right? But
Yeah.
it's starting off online, I think, and then eventually they'll give it to the wholesalers. But Celsius was built on Amazon, right? So um, that was interesting. And then just one more couple more highlights from the show. Sorry, I just jumped right into it. I'm still let me digress for a second. I'm still recovering from being in San Antonio for like 4 nights away from my family, whiling out every night. Do you know that no, Tuesday night I told Jordan this. I woke up in the middle of the night with my heart like pounding and I had like this knot in my chest. And I was like, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? So I call the emergency center at the Pearl.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, hey, what would my copay be if I were to come in to get assessed for potential heart attack? I'm shortness of breath. I'm short of breathing. And they were like, yeah, it's like 750. And by the time I hung up, I was like, if I can make it through that conversation, I'm probably going to live. So then I went back to sleep.
That is the most
Anyway.
American situation I think I've ever heard. I might be having a heart attack, but I want to check my copay to make sure that I can
Right.
afford to have a heart
Get the
attack.
price on that first.
Yeah.
Can I afford this heart attack right now? No. Okay. Did you hear that, body?
Yeah,
Anyway.
you need to run up to Canada if you're having a heart attack. So
Yeah, I'll be right there. No, the other thing, I mean, obviously, big above premium focus was a big theme of the show. And it's funny, MSJ said they're taking a super different approach when it comes to the above premium space, and they'll have high double-digit investment increases, and all their 2025 innovation is above premium. But Jordan and I were having lunch right before that show opened, and we were like, "Yeah, let's have something from Molson Coors." And we were like, we really wish they had like an above premium play at all. That's literally what we were sitting around saying. We're like, they have Banquet, which is cool. It's not above premium, and that Banquet stuff got some of the best applause of the show. But so yeah, the other thing is they're leveling up with Latinos, and interested to hear Jordan's take on this because he usually covers MCDC. It's the first time in years I had covered MCDC, but this is like what I've been hearing AB say at their shows for the last 2 or 3 years. It's it's Latinos. And now they're even doing Spanish language media for Blue Moon, right? And on that sort of thing. Is that a recurring theme from them, Jay?
Yeah, I think for them and AB, their stance has always kind of been, well, they've tried to, mess around with Mexican imports. AB with Montejo,
Sure.
Jalisco, Molson Coors still has Sol.
Soul.
But their stance has always been that Hispanics don't just drink Mexican imports.
Right. Yeah.
They drink mass domestics
Yeah.
too. And if they can figure out a way to come out with marketing that resonates with them, and I mean, Bud Light, there's a lot of Hispanic drinkers drinking that brand, or, I don't know. But that's always been their stance. And I think they're just trying to do more with the brands they have and catering Hispanics. They just got to figure out the right way to communicate it. And if you just do Spanish language spots of the spots you have, I don't really think that's it. So they're trying to take a different approach and finding them in the right places and coming out with actual marketing catered towards them, not just a dubbed over Spanish.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And AB's
Right.
doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's good news for wholesalers to take a year off of just
Innovation.
crazy
Yeah.
innovation,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just coming out with they came out with so many brands with Coke, all kind of at once,
Yeah.
and they really need to filter through that and find where each of those fit in the market. I think singles is a natural play.
Mhm.
I mean,
For this market.
it's low risk, high reward, high margin. And C stores are in play because of because of AB having such a dominant space share, whatever, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Share of space.
Based. And
Yeah.
so they're vulnerable in C stores. C stores have just had a rough year. It's almost the inversion of last year, where last year C stores were rocking and food stores were weak, and now it's inverted. Now they're both weak, but food channels, excuse me, are doing better than C stores at the moment, and I think that's just disposable income again. We keep talking about it. It's just inflation has caught up with the consumer, and they're going to be looking for value. And when I think of value, I first think of singles, then I think of 24-ounce cans, and then I think of high ABV, and getting BOGOs out there.
Yeah.
Get those twofers.
BOGOs.
And they have plans to accomplish that, and they're taking some swings. But like you said, the good news I think for wholesalers is, for the most part, they're sticking to what they have, building on what they have. But I think the opposite to that is they're still trying to push some brands that they've been talking about for years. Peroni is a good example. They've been saying that Peroni's a sleeper for several years now, and that's kind of the theme every distributor convention. And this year they say it's different because they brought production stateside, and I think that's freed up money to bring more investment. So we'll see about that. But I think that's the dilemma in trying to gauge wholesalers' thoughts is, they're happy about not a ton of spaghetti against the wall, but if you're still pushing things that maybe we haven't seen any promise from, then we might want something new, because that is kind of the above premium play. They got Blue Moon turnaround and then Peroni.
Right. It's been quiet on the Peroni front, the Italian front, it hasn't it?
Yeah.
European imports just,
Yeah.
Heineken's having a rough time too. They're all just.
Everyone
They have
wants to be
soul.
Modelo. Yeah.
They have soul, but I don't think they make the margin on soul that they even do with their domestics. And so, do they? It's kind of the same with their Coke products. I mean, do you really want to? How far do you want to push them when you're not making a full margin?
Well, the soul was a chelada play, right? And I feel like these are spaces where they feel like they need to be,
Yeah,
especially since I love chelada time. That one's really for me, I feel like,
right.
Gin
So,
Chelada.
Jen you are our resident chilada connoisseur, and
yes, I am. Yeah,
yeah, and it's always chilada time over at the Litz household.
that's right. I need to get those depletions up. I'm a little behind, so
Yeah,
sorry guys. I'll get back to it.
yeah,
We need to check in on Sol, and I should have probably asked somebody there, but I think it was like a 10-year licensing agreement from
Yeah.
Heineken. And I remember reporting on that a long,
Yep.
long time ago. So I don't know if that's about to come to an end and
Right.
what the move will be.
Well, it probably the solution to that will be just Heineken buying Molson Coors.
You think?
There's been a lot of buzz around it, and Gavin backed out of Barclays. Was it really because of the DEI thing?
Right.
Their stock shot up for about a half a minute,
Mm-hmm.
but seems like the smart money is not taking that very seriously at the moment. Probably nothing there. Did you guys see the note that Andy Christian sent out this morning?
Yes. Oh my God. I cannot imagine that Columbia is too happy. Wait, did I understand correctly that Andy is suggesting that Meritage just sell Columbia off in parts to private equity? Is that
Yeah, I thought that was
refranchise
weird.
a single distributorship?
Yeah, I didn't really understand that part of
I
it.
didn't either.
And he kind of dragged Athletic too a
Yeah.
little bit.
He did. And
Yeah.
I was telling Jen, I wonder if they listened to the pod because we talked about the parallel to NFL private equity a week or two ago. So that was
Right.
kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a point. I mean, if Athletic is valued at 800 billion,
800 billion.
I mean, I'm sorry, 800
800
million.
million. If 800
Yeah.
billion is
Yeah, that's
a
Nvidia
little
for you.
high.
Yeah. No, yeah, 800 million, they have to grow into that valuation.
Yeah.
And you know,
Well,
they're doing it so far.
Yeah.
but
But-
to his point, he's like, but don't forget, folks, we paid $1 billion for Ballast Point. So,
Yeah, right.
but of
Sold
course,
it for
Ballast
41 million. But yeah, Athletic, it continues to defy conventional wisdom.
Mhm.
I thought they would have seen their growth decelerate a long time ago, and every time I look, it's still 75.
I listened to this podcast. Yeah, I've told you about, but the Silicon Valley founders. It's called All In.
Okay.
And by the way, if you watched it on YouTube a few weeks ago, they pulled up a tweet of mine. So
What?
yeah, and it got 2 million likes. Like it's completely viral. Have y'all
Wait,
noticed that?
No.
Did you watch this pod or listen to this pod before that happened or after?
No, I didn't know they were going to do it. I put up a tweet like halfway through the week, and then on Friday I'm watching the pod and I see them pull up my tweet and talk about it. I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" And then I started getting texts from around the country from like Bud Dunn and other people
Yeah.
that watch the podcast, and they were like,
Oh,
"Is that you? Is that you, Harry Schuhmacher?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me."
what was the tweet?
I was just making fun of Chamath because they were talking about the recession, and if you looked at him during it, he's just swilling white wine on a veranda in Italy. Like it was it was incongruous, and I thought it was funny, so I pointed it out, and I didn't think it was a very original tweet. And then it's by far my most viral tweet. That and a nickel will get you nothing. But my point. My point was, what was my point?
You were talking
Shit,
about Silicon Valley.
I mean, Athletic kind of has a tech valuation.
Right.
So it's when you start doing multiples of revenue instead of EBITDA, I would love to get a multiple of revenue. That's fantastic. Andy the agitator. I like it when Andy Christian's still out here, just busting chops.
Stirring the pot. That's right.
Stirring the
That's
pot.
right.
I know what I was going to say. Athletics they have a summit, the All In podcast. They have a conference, and Athletic is their key sponsor.
Oh,
Which I was like, so Bill is in that Silicon Valley crowd, I think.
Yeah.
He is speaking at our summit, by the way, and
yes.
just want to quickly point out that tickets are still for sale at beernet.com. They've been selling pretty briskly because we're having it at the Breakers, everybody's favorite, January like 13th or something. Just go to beernet.com and look it up. Got some great speakers, including Bill Schufelt at Athletic. What other news have we? It's kind of been a Molson Coors week.
Well, it's been a Molson Coors week. We have AB's EAM meeting today, so that will come out tomorrow. We had a profile on Fedway, which is Surfside's largest single wholesaler. Also interesting because they are wine and spirits. They're not a malt-based network, and otherwise that's all that Surfside is with. But it was interesting to see from the other side how this wine and spirits house has been trying to break into RTD, which obviously that's what Gallo's doing, and Buzzballs and all that Sazerac. But interesting. Yep. Everybody wants a piece of the RTD pie. So
everybody wants to be a beer wholesaler, and I don't blame them.
Right.
I don't blame them. Beer, right. Like Jim Cook says, beer wholesalers, they're indefensible. I mean, they're undefeated.
Indefensible.
They're undefeated. They're not indefensible. You can defend them. I spent a career defending them, actually. I dropped Wyatt off at the airport this morning. He's flying to Tokyo, and there were just a lot of hungover beer distributors
Oh, I
getting
bet.
planes. Yeah.
I bet. Hey, by the way, you hungover beer distributors, email us and tell us what you want on the pod. Tell us if you want to come on. Tell us your thoughts, your dreams, Tell us what
Yeah.
you want
Your
to sing on
thoughts and
stage.
dreams. And tell us what you thought of the meeting.
MCDC, yeah.
And ABs later today too.
Right.
Right. Yeah. EAM. It's been a full week. I will be heading to Columbus, Ohio next week. Looking forward to reconnecting with our Ohio friends and distributors there. And we got a pretty full schedule of travel. We're going to the Beer Institute meeting and of course, going to MBWA in San Diego and going back to Columbus for something else. We're spending a lot of time in Columbus, Ohio for some reason this year.
I think FIFCO's meeting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I guess Rochester is
too far.
Columbus is probably better than Rochester, right? I
think.
don't know. Rochester in the summer is not bad.
That's what I would think. And when I used to cover, I felt like it was always in Florida too. I mean, they are the Florida Ice Farm.
Yeah.
Forget
company.
Yeah.
Florida Ice and Farm. Yeah.
Yeah. They used to have it in Rochester sometimes before FIFCO bought them.
Yeah.
So
the best one they ever had was in Costa Rica.
Oh my God.
Or no, where are they from?
Yeah.
Costa Rica.
Yeah. Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Didn't you go twice, Harry, to that one? You went twice to that meeting.
Got stuck there once.
No, I got kicked out of Costa Rica the first time I went. I never even made it through customs. They just
that's right.
They made me sleep in a jail cell and then put me on a plane back the next morning.
Wait, because you like soaked your passport or something? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't. And my name triggered something over there. I'm not sure why or what, but it was touch and go there. But I got out and then I went back and I was afraid they were going to arrest me again. But FIFCO took care of it. Remember Ramon?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, don't worry about that. We've cleared your visa. And so, yeah, that was a cool meeting. Well, listen, I love to sit here and just bullshit with you two all day. But we got a lot of work to do.
That's right.
EAM.
EAM.
Do you have to get that approved?
Oh, yeah, of course. You wouldn't believe. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I know what you're going to say. There's
I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. There's a lot of, things that didn't make the cutting room floor or things that went to the cutting room floor that shouldn't have gone to the cutting room floor. But that's okay. That's what in-person meetings are for.
Yeah.
I think wholesalers are wise to it now. I used to worry that they thought that we were just doing a terrible job covering the meeting. I'm like, you didn't get any of the good stuff.
All right.
Well, they see everyone else's coverage too. It's not like
It used to bother me more than it does now. It still bothers me, but the reason that we accept it is because I figure it's better just to have some information than no information.
Yeah.
And to be completely out of the loop. The other thing is that having sat through it, then we know what's coming and we know kind of have a grasp of what each company is doing. So it makes us better report on it later. You take what you can get. It's gotten worse and worse, because when I first started doing this, 20 years ago, it was a very light hand. It was basically just the only rule was don't talk about Walmart. Don't talk about any of our chain stuff. Other than that, go for it. And they kind of back then also, it was just so easy to pull up a cola. And so you could see what new brands they were coming out with. But the brewers have gotten wise to that. And now they don't apply for the cola until right before they're about to launch. So, or sooner,
Yeah. And for most of the, sugar-based alcohol, I don't think you have to apply for a cola. So, and that's where a lot of the innovation is.
Yeah.
But it was a nice meeting, well polished and well rehearsed as always. And I'm glad they put a shine on San Antonio and hope everyone enjoyed their time here.
Yeah, it's like Bourbon Street on a creek.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is people are like, where do we go? And where we ended up going were the shittiest dive bars, like
Good.
Mad Dogs, like
Yeah.
Dirty Nellies.
Dirty Nellies. I
It's
love
like,
Dirty Nellies. Yeah.
brings back the good old day memories from college, from after college, you know.
I love the
So,
Riverwalk sometimes. It's
yes.
cool. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but I like it. There's there's a Rainforest Cafe and Hard Rock. There's bullshit like that, right? Like Vegas, but it's also got some little gems like Dirty Nell's.
Oh, I love the
Um,
Riverwalk. I love it.
yeah,
The water's just so damn green. Could they do
yeah.
something about the green?
Well,
Yes,
the
they
great thing about San
fish in the Riverwalk.
Antonio, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The U.S. doesn't really claim us, and neither does Mexico. So it's kind of a lawless no man's land, and that's why I like it here.
Yeah.
Nobody is screwing with us down here. We are unpatrioted. We are just a lawless wonderland.
Nobody realizes how big San Antonio is. It's like a
No,
top 10 market, and nobody realizes that. It's
no.
pretty funny.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on BeerNet Radio. Another fascinating Wednesday warehouse. We'll come at you again next week, and I think we have a guest next week as well.
We have two guests. We have someone from Cycling Frog, which is a up-and-coming D9 brand, and we're going to have Brian Crawford on toward the end of the week to talk about the BI meeting. Yeah. So
good. All right. Well, take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
bye.
Peace.
I just want to say.